just happened? Well guys, sometimes bad things happen when you're out snowmobiling. I'm so disgusted right now. Hello everybody, I'm Ben and I crashed our nicest vintage snowmobile. So stay tuned for this one. You're not going to want to miss this. I'm going to tell the story of that day, show the moments that led up to the accident, and the design flaw that caused it, as well as never before seen footage of the actual crash. So the snowmobile that I wrecked was our 1970 Alpine Invader. That was the very first vintage snowmobile that started our collection. We picked that up and the Silver Bullet right around the same time, so those were the first two. This sled was amazing. It was in such good shape. Ran great. Rode around great. We had to do drivers and that sort of thing, but it was a great sled. To set the stage, I'm going to play you a clip from December 1st, 2024. This is going back a year, and I went over to a friend's house to ride snowmobiles because we didn't have any snow. The first time we ever rode the Alpine was at Rob's farm back in 2023, I want to say. No, 2022. It was right at the beginning of 2022. He hosted an event, and we brought our Alpine there, and you know, that was the first time we'd ever rode it, really, because we brought it home and the driver shredded. We didn't really have snow anyway, so we took it there and rode it, and it was a great time. So it was only fitting that I would go back there with the Alpine. So I'm going to play for you footage from December 1st, 2024. I'm going to post this video on December 1st, 2025, so exactly a year later. And this is right before disaster struck. So this is kind of going to set the stage for the day, and I'll catch you after you guys watch this clip. Look at that. I told you I was going to find some snow. I'm here at Baker's Acres. My friend has graciously invited me over to enjoy some of his snow. So I've got the Olympic Red Devil and the 1970 Invader. Gonna get these out into the snow, and so that clip you just watched was actually in my video that I made from that day. I'll pop a link up in the upper right hand corner. I think that's the right side. Yeah, I was intentionally vague about this sled, the Alpine. I wasn't really ready to bring attention to it. It was a lot. I didn't even know if I was going to share this with YouTube, but I've reflected on this for quite a bit and decided that I needed to share this with the world. So it was all set to be a really fun day. I had the Red Devil there, I had the Alpine there, and we were just going to do some riding, you know, film some YouTube videos and just have a great time. And what happened next, I am still in shock about. So I guess just to get this right out of the way, the reason that this happened is because the throttle stuck. Now, I am very good about checking the throttle before I start a snowmobile, especially if it's the first time, you know, that I've started it in a while, just because this is the sort of thing that can happen. And there's really nothing you can do on these older sleds if that throttle is stuck wide open. There's no kind of safety, there's no tether, it just is gonna go. And that's one of the reasons why when I'm starting a sled that I'm not familiar with, I always have the back end elevated on a stand or whatever, just so it doesn't take off. But yeah, the throttle stuck, but it's not because the cable stuck or the cable was seized or anything like that. Let me play the clip. This other clip I have, it actually explains exactly what happened, and this is after the crash, so you're going to get to see the big reveal of the damage. Sometimes bad things happen when you're out snowmobiling. I'm so disgusted right now. see the damage here. So it's all bad. Hit this poor farmall. I don't know if I've ever seen an Alpine move so fast. So this is a public service announcement to check your throttle. Yeah, I believe what happened here is the throttle cable got caught around the reverse handle. I checked it before I started it, but then when I threw it into forward, it yanked up on the cable full throttle. There was no stopping it. I was off the sled, thankfully. I tried to grab the key to turn it off and it was just too late. Backrest is destroyed. This really nice hood is now destroyed. I mean, it hit hard. Hope there's no underlying damage. Hopefully the fiberglass pan on the underneath is okay. I think it just slid under that tractor and hit the bell housing there. But yeah, what an absolute shame. Not sure if I'm gonna post this or not, but yeah, I did, but it still even wasn't good enough. Check your throttles. So there she is in her present condition. Still makes me sick to see it like this. This sled was in such nice shape. It wasn't perfect. It definitely had some things, some areas that could be improved, but this hood was near perfect. And now you can see it's pretty well destroyed. You can fix anything with enough time and money, but I don't know that this is worth saving. The unfortunate thing is the lower pan is now damaged. That's made out of fiberglass as well. I don't know that there's any more damage. We're here kind of looking at this the same. The bumper is damaged. I'm sure the ski took the brunt of it as well. The windshield is destroyed, which that already had cracks, and the backrest is now destroyed. So, as I said, the throttle's stuck, but it's not that it's stuck because it was frozen or seized or anything like that. Let me just show you here. Typically, whenever I do any gear changes on this sled, I will do it with the engine off. Basically how this works is forward, one click back is kind of like neutral, and you pull it back for reverse. So I had backed it off the trailer, and this lever was in the rear position. So it was very easy for that cable to get behind it. And then what I'll do, like I said, this is with it off, I'll turn it off. The sled was not running anyway, but before I start it, I'll get it pushed into gear. Sometimes it will just go easy, but as you can see in this video, it did not. I wasn't sure if it was in, so what I'll do is I'll reach down under and spin the clutch to see if it's in gear. And like, this is not in gear right now. Now it just popped into gear. I can't spin that. So that's what happened. That's why the engine was off. That's why I was off the sled, because I was trying to get it into forward. It's a lot easier to put this sled into gear with it not running, because like I said, sometimes it doesn't line up, and just trying to get the gears to mesh, you know, you could give it some throttle to get it to spin and try to mesh, but I've just found it's way easier to do it that way. So as I did that, I didn't notice that the cable was wrapped around and it was pushed forward. So when I did that, it yanked up on the cable to near full throttle. And once I started it, there was no stopping it. It's a good thing that it was forward, because it would have been a lot worse if it went backwards. It was right on a ledge, but it took off. I tried to catch it. I tried to get the key to turn it off. It was just going so fast. It hopped the stone wall and went straight into Braden's tractor. And it ran and I think spun the tracks for a couple seconds after that, and then it died out. all while I'm watching. I had tripped over the stone wall, all while recording with my GoPro. So I think we're going to just show you that footage now. That's what a lot of people have come to see. This has never been seen by anybody but me, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to show it. Yeah, so without further ado, let's watch it from start to finish.
What the f just happened?
That was, I don't know, there haven't been, I can't describe the feeling that I still feel about that. Yeah, that was tough to watch. So I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that, a lot of negative comments, but all that I can say is this could happen to anybody, and you just have to be careful with these because these are dangerous machines, and as you can see, things can go sideways in a hurry. That was about 5 seconds from a nice show sled to the wreck that you see now, and you can't change it. That's what we have to live with. So so this happened, and I didn't even know what happened. I didn't know what to make of it. I was just in shock. I'm pretty sure like I landed funny on my gut because between just the overall disgust I was feeling and kind of felt like someone punched me in the gut. I felt like I was going to throw up, and that's when Rob came and saw the situation. He thought that I hit my head and I had a concussion because I was over there dry heaving. But we got the snowmobile pulled out from under the tractor, and I mean, it was destroyed. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It was destroyed. I said in that clip that, you know, thankfully I wasn't on it, but honestly it might have ended up differently if I was on it, because I might have had a better chance of getting to the key switch to turn it off. But I think what I meant was I wasn't on it when it actually, you know, hit the tractor, because I had my helmet on. But I mean, that went from full speed to 0 in a hurry, and it, you know, who knows what would have happened to me. So I am thankful that no one was hurt. I'm thankful that tractor was there and it didn't continue on and hit somebody, hit their barn, hit their house, hit their car. That tractor kind of just stood there and took it, an old Farmall M. But yeah, so 5 seconds, that's all it took. You can kind of see me in the moment trying to run alongside the sled. I was so close to getting to the key to turn it off, and that would have been awesome if I could have done that. But it doesn't look like it. But I was moving. I mean, that was 0 to full speed in an instant, and that's a 640, so it's got some power and it's got some acceleration. It's geared pretty low. So yeah, I've never seen an Alpine go so fast. It launched over that rock wall, and that's when I trip and fall. You can see I kind of, just me trying to catch myself, I bashed the rear trunk, and I just was on the ground and I watched, and I kind of got up and stumbled, and that was it. It was over in 5 seconds. There's a lot of things I wish I could have done differently. You know, I hope that makes sense why I started it, you know, put it in gear with it off and then started it. It's just a lot easier to get it into gear if you can kind of manually work that clutch to help the gears mesh. And I was off the sled because, you know, pulling over a big 640, it's kind of difficult when you're sitting in the seated position. So I was off the sled, and normally I would electric start the sled, but it was a very cold day and it just wasn't turning over fast enough to start. So that's why I was pull starting it. So that sled has kind of been tucked away in the corner. There's some of my close friends that know this happened, but nobody has seen that footage. Everybody is seeing it for the first time. I don't even think my dad saw it. And the sled's just kind of been over there in the corner. It's just a unpleasant reminder of that bad day. But this sled was the start of our vintage collection, and it is going to be rebuilt. I just don't know when. We haven't really gotten anything apart to assess it because it pretty much came off the trailer and we shoved it into the shop, and it's just kind of been tucked in this little hole since then. But I can't tell that there's any structural damage to the actual tunnel. It's hard to say. You can kind of see that this gap here is not right, but that could have just been from the, you know, from damage to the pan. This bumper is obviously, you know, mangled, and I don't think it's really savable. It wasn't really that nice of a bumper to begin with, and I say that because it's painted black and this should have been chrome. So while it was structurally a nice bumper, it really wasn't up to par with the niceness of this sled. The ski is bent up, as you can imagine. There should be a little limiting chain right here that is busted off. It's probably still sitting on the ground at Baker's Acres. This vent is popped out. I think that might be in here. This other vent is popped out. That's definitely underneath. I can see it. There's some Farmall red paint here. I'm pretty sure I left some Ski-Doo yellow on that Farmall. Some more paint, Farmall red paint here. So I don't know when I'm going to get to this project. It's really was not a project I ever intended having. It was a nice sled. It rode, and this is just a shame. It makes me sick. And it kind of really set the stage for what the vintage snowmobiling season was like for me last year. I just did not have very good luck whatsoever. But this is not the last you have seen of the Alpine Invader. One day when I can actually devote the time and energy and money that is required for a project of that magnitude, that sled will be rebuilt, and hopefully it will be better than it ever was. So I'm kind of skipping around here. I'm trying to say everything that I have to say without, you know, this is all one off the top of my head. I'm shooting from the hip. I didn't write any of this down. I probably should have, but this handle is not the OEM style. That is a custom design by a previous owners of the sled. This should have just a small, like a knob, a round knob. This wooden handle was made, and I'm assuming just for ease of use, the knob was very small, and I'm sure with gloves it was hard to get it in and out of gear when you're trying to use this thing, because sometimes you gotta really pull. So I can see why it was done, but that is a design flaw and a safety hazard that should have never happened. And it ultimately, you know, I'm paying the price now, and this sled is a far cry from what it was. But anyway, yeah, sorry this video is very choppy. We're gonna rebuild this, and I cannot wait for Alpine Redemption. So I thank you very much for watching. That you will probably never see footage like that. This is 1000% real. That was not planned for YouTube or anything like that. I would have felt a certain way if any sled had that happen, but that was the worst sled for that to happen to. So I thank you very much for watching. I'm looking forward to what happens next for both the Alpine and both for the upcoming winter. We've already got some signs of snow, so hopefully we'll have a good winter of riding. So thank you very much, and now I'm just going to leave you with the photo video montage of that sled.